Hi first graders, I'm here to do math lesson 8-6. We did skip 8-5. It had a lot of cutting and pasting and something that was really hard to do on a video. So we're just skipping that lesson. It didn't have a huge standard that needed to be learned. So we're moving on to 8-6. 8-6 is all about 3D shapes. So Miss Lumsden has a bag of 3D shapes. You can see they were all in here. I got them in from my classroom, our classroom when I was there for a very short visit. And I'm just going to show you some of the shapes. I'm going to tell you some of the names. We're going to discuss what we notice and see about them. And that is pretty much it. So you don't have to memorize any of these shapes. You just need to start learning how to describe them. So we talked last week and even the week before about defining and non-defining attributes. So that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the attributes of these shapes. So the first shape I want to start with is this. If you notice some things about this shape, you could be saying them out loud at home, but Miss Lumsden can tell this shape has no edges or corners or points. It has nothing. It is fully circular. The name of this is called a sphere. Now, we usually would just call it a ball, right, when we see balls, but the math name for this shape is a sphere. Just like our Earth is a sphere and all the balls we play with, those are also spheres. So you can see, you noticed about this shape, some of its defining attributes. No corners, no sides, no edges. It's fully circular. Okay, so that's our sphere. That one's pretty easy. We've seen that one a lot in our lives before. All right, the next one I want to talk to you about is a really important one. It's one you've seen before a lot too. Every time I hold up this one, the first thing I think of is a dice. We play with dice a lot in first grade with lots of our math games. We roll a lot of dice. So this is just like a dice. It's a little bigger. Now the math name for this is not dice, obviously. It doesn't have numbers on it. The math name for this is a cube. It's a cube because all its sides and all its edges are the same. They're all square. All right, so we can talk a little bit more about some of these names. So when I say edges, Miss Lumsden means this part right here. This is what I mean by an edge. And when I'm saying points, we already kind of talked about our 2D images. We don't really call these points. We call them vertex or vertices if there's more than one. And then these flat sides, I've been calling them, are actually called faces, which is kind of weird. So you can count how many faces. So I'm going to show you on the cube. I'm not going to move it. I'm going to hold it like this. There's one face on the top, one face on the bottom, so 2, then 3, 4, 5, 6. So a cube has 6 flat faces, okay? Now we can talk about the edges. So these are the edges. So you can see there's 1, 2, 3, 4 edges on the top, which means there's 1, 2, 3, 4 edges on the bottom, which makes 8. And then there's edges that connect the bottom. There's 4 more. So this cube has 12 edges. 4 plus 4 plus 4 is 12. There's 12 edges where the faces meet. So these two faces are meeting and it forms this edge right here. And then the last is the vertices or the points on the cube. So it has 1, 2, 3, 4 at the top and 1, 2, 3, 4 at the bottom, which makes 8 vertices for this cube. Okay, remember the cube is the same on each side. So the next one I want to show you is this, which looks really similar. But we would actually call this one a rectangular prism because you can see its sides are not the same. So you can see this face, they're not sides, this face is bigger than this one. So it's not a cube because they're not all the same like a dice would be. This is a rectangular prism because it has the rectangles, not the squares. So you can kind of count it the same. It has a lot of the same numbers and features as the cube because they do, again, look very similar, but it's not squared off. So it's not a cube. It's a rectangular prism. But like our cube, it has the same amount of faces, the same amount of edges, and then the same amount of vertices. All right, the next one I would like to show you. Let's see. Let's look at this one. This one is interesting because you can see that it does have some faces, right? This is flat down here, and this is flat, so it has two faces. And this is not really a flat surface, right? It goes all the way around, kind of like our sphere does, right? And you can see this is a cylinder too. Let me show you. This is like a skinny, tall cylinder, and this is a short, kind of fat cylinder. So they have two faces, the top and the bottom. And then what about any vertices? Do you see any vertices on these shapes? Nope, there's no points. They're all rounded. But you can see it does have edges. Look, there's an edge here, one on the top, and one around the bottom. So both of these have two edges. All right, I think there's one more Miss Lumsden wanted to show you. Ooh, how about a cone? Here's a cone. You can see it has one face. You can see at the bottom. Does this one have vertices? Look, one at the top. It has one point, and you can see it has one edge too along the bottom. So this one is a cone. And then let's see, the last one. How about a pyramid? Let's do a pyramid. This one's pretty cool. So you can see the bottom is a face. It has a face on the bottom. You can see there's faces on all the sides. So there's one on the bottom, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So there's 4 along each side, or on each side, and 1 on the bottom, which makes 5. Does this one have vertices? Yep, on the top. And what about edges? 1, 2, 3, 4, and 4 edges. All right, my friends, those are the ones Miss Lumsden wanted to chat with you about today. Of course, I wish you could have your hands on these shapes and we could see them, but you will, in 2nd grade, continue to learn about shapes and 3D shapes and keep getting smarter and know all the things about them. So remember, we know how to look at their faces, how to look at their edges, and how to look at the vertices and see what we know about those shapes. All right, see you soon. Bye.